Hey besties, welcome back to Besties and Books. Today we are diving into Brimstone by Callie Hart, which is book 2 in the Fae and Alchemy series.
But don't panic, this vlog is spoiler-free for Brimstone. We will not ruin a single twist or reveal from this book.
But we do need to mention this up front. We will be talking spoilers from book 1, Quicksilver, because you can't really talk about Brimstone without touching on where everything left off. So it will contain Quicksilver spoilers, but no Brimstone spoilers.
Exactly. So if you have not read Quicksilver yet, hit pause, grab that book, and then come back and join us when you're ready.
Because trust us, this world, these characters, the magic system, Callie Hart is not playing.
In this vlog, you will get our live reactions, predictions, theories, all of our unhinged thoughts as we read, without spoiling anything that happens in Brimstone.
So grab a drink, get cozy, let's get back into the Fae and Alchemy world because things are about to get wild.
Don't forget, if you are loving our content, to hit that like button, subscribe, and the bell notification so that you don't miss any of our future videos. All right, let's get into it.
Hey besties, guess what today is? It's release day for Brimstone by Callie Hart. Book 2 to the Fae and Alchemy series. Book 1 is Quicksilver. And to say that we are excited is a total understatement. Oh my gosh. So you can bet that the first thing I did this morning was download Brimstone on my Kindle and start it straight away. I am so excited. So today, and I guess over the next few days or week, Sarah and I are filming a reading vlog for Brimstone. I am already about 10% into Brimstone. I am just so happy to be back in this world. So happy to be back with Kingfisher and Ceres and Carrion. I love Carrion so much. Is he not just like the best side character ever? Already his humor is coming through. I am loving the banter. I love the tension between him and Kingfisher. Ceres is already talking about how it's, a little bit annoying and becoming infuriating to her, but I love it. I am here for it. Please keep up the Carrion and Kingfisher banter and a bit of jealousy there. The quips are just so good. I was thinking earlier, if there is ever a why choose romance, this would be so good because I genuinely cannot decide if I like Kingfisher more or Carrion more. Obviously, we know, because we've read Quicksilver, that Kingfisher and Ceres are mates, so that's never going to happen. But the point is, I love Carrion. I really hope he has a stronger presence throughout this book as well, like we saw in Quicksilver. Also, if you didn't know, there are actually some bonus chapters on the author's website to Quicksilver, and I feel like they really should be read before you go into Brimstone. They just offer a bit more background into Kingfisher and sort of the burning of the citizens that plagues him day to day and that he really punishes himself over. There's some mention of dragons in there, so now I'm anticipating dragons to be in this book, even though it was sort of made clear in those bonus chapters that the dragons aren't in existence anymore. I can't help but think, why bring them up just to take them away? So I'm sort of thinking that maybe they'll make a comeback. I don't know, watch the space. But so far, loving being back in this world. We have gone straight into where the timeline for Quicksilver left off, where Ceres has now become half vampire, half fae, and she's navigating the coronation of her becoming queen of the vampires and I guess the political backlash among the vampires about that and their reluctance to her becoming queen. We've also already had a little appearance of the fox, which we love. But yes, about 10% in, so I'm not that far into it. Cannot wait to see where this goes. It is a long book this time, which I'm really excited about. I think it's like 750 pages on my Kindle, so I'm so excited about where this plot is going to go, what the relationships are going to be like, hear more about Carrion and all that banter. And yeah, also a little prediction from me. When we did our Quicksilver reread, I picked up on that Kingfisher's mum said, and I think Kingfisher repeated this at some point in Quicksilver, that the true name of the Fae shouldn't be revealed or told to anyone. It's sort of kept top secret between the birthing parents and the child. So it makes me think that, wait, is Kingfisher his real name? Could it be something else? Like, is that his true name? Has he actually revealed that? Or is that one of these top secret things? It was just like a little clue that happened in Quicksilver. And then it was sort of vaguely mentioned in those bonus chapters as well that are on the author's website. So I don't know. Something could come from that, because all the fans, I think, have a real issue with the name Kingfisher. It is like the worst name ever for a male main character, but we love him. And I just feel like something is going to come of this, and his true identity hasn't been revealed. So super excited to see whether that unfolds in this book. With that being said, I will check in again around that 50% mark.
Hi besties, time for my first check-in for Brimstone, which is Book 2 in the Fae and Alchemy series by Callie Hart. I have been waiting for this book for many months. I am so excited. I really want to take my time in reading it and soaking it all up, because I know in a few days it's going to be all over and I will wish I could start at the beginning and read it again. So a few things going into it. I did reread book 1 recently. I also read the bonus chapters that were from Kingfisher's perspective. So that's got me thinking about what might happen, what could happen, what I want to happen. So at the top of my mind, I'm super intrigued about Kingfisher's real name. So we know that Kingfisher is not his real name, and in the bonus chapters from his perspective, we hear Wren's sister, who has passed away, but she comes back to tell Kingfisher, do not tell anyone your name. So there's going to be something with that, not sure what. Very intrigued about it. Second thing, at the end of book 1, Ceres wakes up and she's obviously half fae, half vampire. So I'm very intrigued as to what that's going to mean for her. Is she going to be more fae, more vampire? Will she have changed? Will she have new powers? Is she going to be able to go out during the daylight? Who knows? I'm super keen to hear. There was an interesting exchange at the end of book 1 between Ceres and Tal, who is a vampire, and her maker. So he's the one who turned her into a vampire. Now, I really am hoping that we're not going to see some sort of love triangle. So I think there's a bit of a bond between Ceres and Tal because of the fact that he's her maker. And I really don't want that to just interrupt things with Ceres and Kingfisher. That will bother me. Anyway, into Brimstone, I'm only 10% in, so don't have too much to say. There's been a little bit of setup in terms of the Fae court. So Ceres she did rock up at her coronation to be Queen of the Fae. It all ended in disaster because she was attacked by one of the 5 Fae lords, and then Kingfisher stepped in and killed the lord who attacked her. So sort of not off to a great start. It seems like majority of vampires do not want her. She's not seen to be a very sort of good successor to Malcolm. She's also only half vampire, so she's not seen as one of them. So I'm really intrigued to hear more about the vampire court and all the court politics. Carrion is still very much in the plot. I love him. I think he's one of the best side characters we've had. Very keen to hear where he is going to go, if he's going to claim sort of his rightful place as king. At the moment, it's indicating that he's not that interested, but I'm assuming that's going to change. There's a super, super, super cute scene where both Carrion and Kingfisher are sort of racing across the plains to save the fox who has come to visit Ceres and is currently being attached by some blood-sucking vampires, and they at all lengths are going to save the fox because they know that Ceres loves the fox. Super cute. I'm going to keep reading. I'll check in about sort of 40 to 50%, and hopefully I will be deeply engrossed and loving it.
Hey besties, I am back with another reading check-in for Brimstone. Still loving it. Still so happy to be back in this world. I love Ceres, Kingfisher, Carrion, just all of it is so good. Basically where I'm at now is Ceres and Kingfisher still seem to be navigating the vampire court politics. She's the queen, as we know. By the end of Quicksilver. So navigating what that role looks like, and I guess the hatred that the vampires have towards her, still being half Fae, and Kingfisher being full-blooded Fae. There is also a threat not only to Ivelia or Zavarian, but all of the realms. Without spoiling anything, this really intense threat has fallen upon the land, and they've got to fight it. And so I'm at a point now where Kingfisher and Cyrus have sort of gone on their separate quests to try and deal with this threat. Still loving the humour. Carrion has had big presence in this book so far, which is really fun. The only ick that I'm sort of getting is that some of Carrion's jokes are being over-explained. So like he'll say a joke or there'll be some banter and it will land and I will laugh out loud, but then the joke is then explained. I don't know how else to say it without going into more detail, but I'm just not loving that. I just wish the joke that was just said and, you know, you move on and you just let it land as it may be. But yeah, just a little minor ick that I'm sort of getting from that. Otherwise, still loving the humour, loving the characters. My only other sort of thing that I'm not really understanding is Malcolm's second in command before he died. There seems to be this unconditional trust that Cyrus and Kingfisher have placed in him, even though there's been some sort of betrayal there between that group. I just don't really understand where that trust has come from, but it's sort of like a minor thing. Maybe that'll get explained a bit more later on. But yes, and I really wanted to read you this quote from this very spicy scene between Cyrus and Kingfisher on page 122. It's not a spoiler. It's just so good. Come now, Osha. Where else would an acolyte kneel to worship but at the altar of his god? It's just so good. It's so good. Anyway, still loving the book. I will check in with you again around that 70% mark.
Hey besties, time for my next check-in for Brimstone by Callie Hart. I am about halfway through the book. I have raced through it the last couple of days, but I am really trying to take it slow because I do not want to read it too quickly. So, some sort of key updates and thoughts. In book one, at the very end, we did hear about a rot that was spreading through the world. We didn't know much about it. We are definitely seeing what that means now in Brimstone. So obviously, without giving away any spoilers, something is spreading across the land, and the land is suffering from it. Cyrus and her friends are desperately trying to stop it, prevent it, but so far it feels like they're not really succeeding, unfortunately. Cyrus is spending a lot of time working on her powers, so she's starting to experience some negative effects from her alchemy powers. She doesn't yet know really how to stop that, control it, so she is seeking some assistance. She has made some new alliances or perhaps friendships with some folk in the vampire kingdom. We're yet to discover whether those alliances are going to be beneficial or detrimental. Not sure yet. A lot is happening in Zilvarin. So Fisher and Carrion went there with the intention to find Hayden, Cyrus's brother, and some silver. What they have found is a whole lot of trouble, a whole lot of danger, of course fighting, and also discovered a lot of truths or information that links Zilvarin back to the Fae Kingdom. So the plot is definitely thickening. The suspense is there, the action is there. There's still been some sort of the spice and the romance that we know and love from book one is there. I did feel a little bit sort of sad to pick up on a sort of a big typo in the book. So in chapter 14, there is a reference to Carrion and Lorith fighting or like training together in the Vampire Kingdom. but that was during the point where Carrion is actually in Zilvarin. So apparently this did get picked up in editing, and then unfortunately it still made it to print. So it really did throw me, because I suddenly thought, hang on, what's going on here? Carrion's not supposed to be here. And then I realized it was a typo. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. But loving the book. I sort of can't put it down, but again, trying to read it slow and take my time with it. All right, I'll do another check-in shortly.
Hey besties, I am back with another reading check-in for Brimstone. I'm about at the 70%-ish mark. It has been a little bit slow since my last check-in. More and more of the plot is unraveling, which I love, but basically a trope has been introduced that I normally don't love in a fantasy series. I've spoken about it on other reading wrap-ups that we've done on our YouTube channel before. So I'm just sort of hoping that, and I don't want to spoil what it is, I'm not even going to say what the trope is because I'm not spoiling anything, but I'm hoping that this does a good twist on it because I'm not usually a fan. So that's sort of been introduced, but we're still very character focused, which I love. I'm loving the fire sprite. I just think he's like the best. He's so funny, he's so quirky, he's so emotional, like real highs, real lows. I just am loving the fire sprite. Still loving Carrion. I'm also really loving Ceres's character development. She's had some one-on-one fight scenes or where she's just fighting on her own, and I'm loving that for her. It's not just her and Kingfisher. We've had a real focus on, I think, Ceres in this book, which is really nice and I'm really loving. Even though we're getting a lot of chapter point of views from Kingfisher as well, which I know the girlies love a dual POV. We haven't had a lot from Kingfisher's sister, Everlane, this time around. She was a bit more prominent in the first book, so something's going on there, which might unravel in the next book or towards the end. I'm not really sure her role and how prominent that's going to be in this book, but we haven't seen much of her. There's also this, like, I don't know if it's a person or a creature called a Hazrax that's been introduced in this book, and I'm really intrigued as to what it is and what its role is in this book. It almost feels like a take on the Suriel in ACOTAR. So if you've read ACOTAR, which I'm sure a lot of the girlies that have read Quicksilver have also read ACOTAR as well, or guys, then you'll know who the Suriel is. And I'm just getting Suriel vibes from the Hazrax. Maybe that's, you know, we all love the Suriel, so maybe that's a little bit too soon to say, but I'm loving the introduction of that character. So far the author is still nailing all the characters, the side characters. The plot is moving a little bit slowly, but it is a 750-ish page book, so it's sort of to be expected. There needs to be some world building that's happening, but I'm still enjoying it, and I will check in with you again when I have finished the book.
Hey besties, time for my final check-in for Brimstone by Callie Hart. I was going to do a check-in at 75%, and then I just kept reading. I couldn't put it down. So here we are. I finished the book. I will give my rating at the end. The last 50% of the book I could describe by saying the rot is spreading and they are still struggling to know what to do with it. Ceres is getting guidance from someone who is no longer with them. We're seeing some more angst and fighting amongst her friends, and Bellicon, Kingfisher's stepfather, is still out there causing issues. Now, I thoroughly enjoyed the book, but there were some low points for me that I'm going to go through first. So I did think that there were a lot of side characters in this book, and I felt that they were either underdeveloped or they just weren't given enough airtime. Like Foley, one of the members that's been ostracized from the vampire court, he is a vampire. I thought had some great potential. I would have loved to see more of him. the witch lady, I forget her name, the healer and her husband, Ceres's brother Hayden. There were so many side characters that popped in and out, and we just didn't really see or get to understand them at all. Even Everlane and Ren, characters that we know and love from book one, we didn't see that much of in this book. So I was a bit disappointed about that. We do see Carrion in this book and I loved it. So I was very, very, very happy that he was still in the book and in fine form. I did also feel that there were a few sort of convenient endings. So Ceres is guided by someone who is no longer there but has left behind clues. And in some cases it just sort of felt a little bit too good to be true. Also the vampire kingdom, sort of it's all falling apart, and I don't know what's going to become of that in the next book, but it just sort of felt like a little bit of a convenient way to wrap things up that was very abrupt, and it was good for the shock value, but I thought, what's the point of all of this? So that was a bit disappointing. Ceres also says mate a lot of times. By the end of the book, I wish I'd counted how many times she said mate. That was starting to get to me. But having said that, I really did enjoy the read. I got through it quite quickly. I still love the storyline. I love all the characters. I will definitely be reading the next book. But I do think it lost a little bit of the momentum that book one had, unfortunately. I will be rating it 4-star though. I still really loved it. The first book I would have rated 5 stars, so it didn't quite live up to my expectations. But overall, a book that I would definitely recommend.
Besties, we have finished Brimstone. Oh my gosh, I feel like I flew through it. So in my last check-in, I said things were moving a bit slowly, but I feel like from that point onward, things really started to pick up. It ended on a complete cliffhanger ending, very similar to how Quicksilver ended, which just made me wanting more. And those bonus chapters that we read after Quicksilver really came into play with the ending of Brimstone. So excited to see where the next book goes. I even saw someone post that you could pre-order the next book, even though it hasn't been released yet. There's no name for it, but on Barnes & Noble, they're listing it for the 10th of November next year. So I don't know, Callie Hart, if that is a future projection for when the next book's going to come, but oh my gosh, what a cliffhanger ending. Also, still loving the side characters. Callie Hart just nailed the side characters. Carrion was so funny towards the end. There's like a scene where and this isn't a spoiler, there's like a scene where he addresses these creatures called satyrs, and he's supposed to address them as their long forgotten king, even though, you know, this isn't a spoiler because he hasn't embraced his role as sort of this forgotten royal yet. But anyway, the line that he says is so funny. It had me laughing out loud. I don't even want to say what it is because I want it to hit for other people. But Carrion had me cracking up when he addressed these satyrs in this finale of the book. It was epic. It was so good. It's so Carrion. We also got Kingfisher's true name revealed, which was so fun. Love it. Way better than Kingfisher, the name, but I loved how that played a role in the ending as well. I thought that was done really well. The only thing that I realised that I haven't done since doing this check-in is apparently there's some bonus chapters from Carrion's point of view on the author's website, so I have to go and read that next, but it won't be included in this vlog. But apparently it's really good. You get to know Carrion a bit more and his character, and we all love Carrion. So besties, that is it. That is our Brimstone reading vlog. I didn't give my star rating. Okay, so I've been thinking long and hard about this one. I think I want to give it 4 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star for me, but I still loved it. I loved the ending. I loved just the cliffhanger ending gets me. I really wanted to give it 4.5 to 5, but there were just a few slowish sort of moments in the book for me, and a few moments that I was like, oh, I don't know, it just wasn't really going anywhere. But overall, I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. And it was a solid 4 stars.
Whoa, Brimstone, that was a journey. A magical, chaotic, emotional filled journey. And we are absolutely obsessed. Thanks for hanging out with us today for this spoiler free vlog. We hope our reactions gave you the vibe without giving anything away.
And if you finish Brimstone, jump into the comments and tell us your overall thoughts. But please, just a reminder, keep it spoiler free for the besties who haven't read it yet.
Make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss our upcoming reading vlogs. We have more fantasy, more chaos, probably more emotional damage on the way.
All right, besties, happy reading, and we'll see you in our next video. Bye.
Bye.